Uh-oh, they've fallen into the one-woman mold problem, which, if you're unaware, many shows and games have this issue where all the masculine characters come in tons of different builds and body types. Tall, short, buff, skinny, fat, etc. And then the feminine characters are all built the exact same way, usually with an over-exaggerated hourglass frame.
My response to stuff like this is usually,
oh my god, who the hell cares?
Let's turn this around for a second, viewers. If all the male characters in the show had the same body type, would you really care? I wouldn't. You see how much of a non-issue this is? The females in Gamerverse having this type of figure is obviously a design choice, and it may just simply make them all easier to draw and animate. So the fact that there are people online right now saying stuff like this.
Hot take, but the Gameoverse pilot is most certainly a variation of Goombait material. Wait, let me change into a more sustainable character to explain this.
There, that's better. Misinformation here to tell you the information. Now, why do I believe this? Well, the main example of this is how we can compare Kit to Caboodle and Misinfo and Fold. These two leading female characters both on the villain and heroine side have very, well, curvy bodies now. Not to say that's an issue, but in comparison to the male or mask-presenting characters who have little to none sexual characteristics, it feels deliberate that the creator behind this show is trying to gain a certain kind of audience.
And if they are, so what? No one's going to make you watch the show if you don't like the female body types. You can turn off the TV, the same way I would turn off the TV if I saw that they were all fat. But the one thing I won't do that these people will do is get online, like on Twitter or on TikTok, and be like, oh, all these women having the same female design is a problem. Or this show is just goon slop. Like, why would that be the first thing that someone would do? Do some people hate attractive women that much? And I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion, for sure. But when I hear people say these strange opinions, it just makes me think that they're very insecure. Because why else would you care? When I look at Brawly or Goku from Dragon Ball Z and see their muscular bodies, I'm not thinking to myself, oh, their bodies look the same, that's a problem. No, when I see their bodies, I'm motivated to want to be like that. And I may be an introvert, but this is one of the main reasons I stay in the gym daily. I want to have abs, I pump my abs, and I want to have a chest that looks like a brick wall. You understand what I'm saying? The last thing I'll be is bothered by it. Plus, we just have to add the fact that there are fictional characters, so having a body type that may be more unrealistic is fine. I don't need every character to look like me, or to be, black. I just want good character designs. And the fact that some people say that Kit and Misinformation in bikinis and in general are fan service and goon bait is crazy. There was one person in my comment section, and he or she is entitled to their opinion, but they said that Kit's hips were wider than her shoulders, and so that makes her fan service or goon bait. And I'm just like, hold up, wait a minute. So a pretty woman on screen is fan service and goon bait now? After reading this, I thought about it for a second, and then I went to look up the definition of fan service and goon bait, and this is what I found. The Merriam-Webster defines fan service as a material included in a book, movie, game, or performance specifically to please the fans. And in general, there are two forms of fan service. There's familiar elements, which means nostalgic callbacks, cameos, or inside jokes aimed at dedicated fans of a franchise. And then there's titillation content, which are scenes that are risque or overtly sexual, added strictly to appeal to the audience. Now, if you're an anime fan and you ever watched a beach episode of an anime, you know what this looks like. In fact, I remember for the anime Bleach, there was a whole beach episode where all the women were in bikinis, and the episode was strictly separate from the main plot. That is true fan service. But in the Gameoverse pilot, Kit and Misinformation only get into bikinis because they are on a beach planet. They have to get into the water to swim, and this change in clothing doesn't take away from the plot, and it doesn't come off as fan service even though some would say it is. And let's just say for a moment, I'm wrong, and this is completely fan service and goonbait. What's wrong with that? Tell me in the comments, what's wrong with it? All it really does for natural, normal fans is make you like the character more. So people calling stuff like this a problem in shows is just weird to me. And just because a female is attractive on the big screen does not immediately make her fan service or goonbait. The only people that would think that would have to be very insecure, a child, or someone who's never seen or met an all-natural attractive woman before. And I mean, again, I know I'm an introvert, but I go to the gym daily, and ain't no Planet Fitness either where all the fat chicks are at. I go to Gold's Gym. And in Gold's Gym and many other real gyms, you can find women who look either similar or exactly or better than this. Hell, I've seen women who look better than this in church. In fact, if you hang around black women in general, especially black women who are athletes, who are physically fit, then a lot of them, low-key, are gonna be thick, with hips and thighs bigger than this. I call hips like this, the birthing hips, or the handlebars. If you know, you know. Anyways, in the Urban Dictionary, the definition of goonbait is content or art aimed at sexually arousing the audience to trigger a response. Now this could mean, for some people, these characters are goonbait, but for others like me who have seen nude women before in anime and really more obvious forms of goonbait, this does nothing for you. In fact, you want to see real goonbait? I guarantee you on Twitter right now and Rule 34, you're going to find plenty of versions of Kit that will sexually trigger you. And I don't even have to look, I know it's there. And this just goes to show you even more that people want attractive characters. And just to make my point even more clearer, let me ask you something. If Kit was ugly, or fat, or both, would anyone really be talking about this character? I don't think so, and let me tell you why I think that is. It's because Kit is a cat girl. And basically, if you're going to make a character that's a cat girl in 2026, she is going to be compared to every cat girl that ever existed in fiction. And yes, a majority of them are hot. In fact, there's only one cat girl that I found that was ugly that no one really talks about anymore, and it may be simply because she's just that unattractive. And it's the cat girl called Catherine from the anime Gintama. Now when I say the words cat girl, do you think of a character that looks ugly and unappealing like this? Or do you immediately think of an attractive, sexy Catwoman like Catwoman from DC, or Black Cat, or Yoriichi Shihoen from Bleach? My point is, if it didn't make Kit a little bit appealing, then no one's really going to care for this character. Now that may not be true for all people, but objectively it is true. People will care more for a character if they are appealing. And this doesn't always mean sexually appealing, it just means basically in some way or another, you like or are just drawn to the character. And now that I think about it, even if a character isn't all that appealing, or really isn't goonbait, like Pomni from the Digital Circus, fans will eventually make their own goonbait of that character. And this happens with almost every character in fiction. And I mean people, there's goonbait online of Pokemon. And the fact that there's Rule 34 and adult videos of a lot of female characters in fiction kind of proves that a lot of people do not really care if a female character in fiction is sexualized.
That makes sense to me.
So I think I made my point. Fan service and goonbait are not problems. And if you think it is, I would say you're just simply uncultured. Because the last time I checked, a woman in a bikini with an hourglass figure is not a problem. It's normal to see, and it's what true men of culture would call peak cinema. Oh, and by the way, Voice is totally in love with the kit design.
Oh yeah! I think I want to have sexual relations!
I wanted you, wanted all the